Alright, you guys, welcome back to some more Hapymaher. I was looking into like kind of the route order I should do. You guys gave me a route when I like first started. Now I'm looking back at it. Hopefully, I'm doing it right. I believe I'm going to be doing the neutral ending or the normal ending, and that's going to be what we're doing right now. So I had to make some decisions, and then I need to chase after Maya. I wanted to show this because I'm wondering if there's going to be something here that's kind of new, chasing after Maya. And then we are going to be doing the first Alice ending. I'm going to do the Maya ending, and then I'm going to do the true end, which is another Alice ending. So I believe that's all we have left. You guys told me I have less than 10 hours worth of gameplay. So hopefully I'll be done pretty soon. That's exciting. Uh, Obviously, I just finished Leyline, and I want to finish Hapymaher pretty soon after. I got some other games I want to play. Um, but I mean, I'm not trying to finish too soon. I'm gonna miss Hapymaher, but I really want to know kind of the mysteries. I want to figure out what exactly happened in the forest. What's up with that blue sky? I think I'm ready to get into it. So let's go ahead and start with this. Not even sparing a glance at the keys that flew at me, I leapt and reached for Maya. Maya sounded surprised for once, certain that I would be able to catch her. I reached out my hand. Now I saw that this option was one of the ones you need to select for her route, so hopefully it's not like a problem that I'm doing this right now. Maya giggled and the surroundings melted away. I fell back into the dream room. I could feel a cushion at my back. I was unable to move right away due to the shock of having my whole body thrown into this room. But it was already too late. Did it be that I can do whatever I want to? Oh no. This isn't an H scene, is it? Maya stood at my feet as I laid on my back. My stomach was completely exposed. I tried to sit up, but my arms and legs were entangled in vines. Tried to reach over to tear it off, but instead the sweet smell that wafted off them made me dizzy. Wait, what are you doing? The creeping vines. Oh! Okay, yeah, this is an H scene. We're gonna skip over this real quick. Wow. That's all I can say. If you know what goes on in that H scene, there. Wow. Okay. Um, I gotta say, I think Maya's probably had the best H scene of all of them. I was really surprised by that. I read a little bit of the dialogue just to see what was going on, make sure none of it was like story important. I can't show any of it for obvious reasons. But wow. Yeah, that was an H scene. Anyways, the surrounding scenery began to warp. That was the signal for the end of the dream. Oh, good, now it would end. Nothing more would happen. I was relieved, but Maya's hand grabbed mine as she melted into the dream. Such a small hand, such thin fingers. I knew the feeling of this hand painfully well. The cold touch of her fingers. Maya began to slowly disappear. My spine froze at those words, and that was precisely why I couldn't let go. If I let her go again, I never would be able to reach her again. I know that's why I can't let you get away, but... You can only hear her giggle. Maya disappeared as though melting into the air, and the feeling in my hand along with her. Our surroundings collapsed, revealing the dark forest once more. I collapsed as well. Maya? Maya melted away, leaving only her smile floating in the air. With that, she disappeared completely. Now I was hit with the sensation of floating in darkness. Unable to fight it, I fell into the darkness. Wow, okay. So it's kind of like, hey, I know you chose me, but you didn't really make all the right decisions, so not going down my route. Yeah, I fell from the bed in reality, too. Blanket was wrapped around me to my head and I tore it off. Can we... Can't skip ahead. Okay, interesting. Basically tried to figure out whether I was still dreaming or if this was reality. I couldn't tell. I had to be clear. I had to understand this was reality. Can't skip ahead. I couldn't see Maya anymore. It was better if I didn't. There was no way I could. I had to accept what happened in that forest. I knew I had to. I wouldn't rely on Maya. I couldn't. I know. Thought I just had this dream where I saw her so vividly, so I had thought, right. I slapped my cheeks and pulled myself together. I couldn't keep dragging my dreams with me forever. I forced myself to put on a brave face, roused myself to action, stood up and rolled the blanket, and returned into the bed. I had to hurry and wash my face, change, eat breakfast with Saki, and head to school as usual. Just when I thought that my cell phone started to ring, without really checking who it was, I answered. Hello? Oh. I could hear her faint voice over the quiet sound of the wind. I feel like this is supposed to be a part of Maya's route, but this is what my guide said to do. It said to go down this choice. I'm pretty much making a bunch of random choices. I guess I technically haven't seen this one. So, I mean, this is going to unfortunately ruin a little bit of the flow in Maya's, but possible. I was awake, so why? Heard a giggle. It was definitely Maya's. I won't rely on you. He certainly was relying on her for some things in the H scene. Yeah. I hung up and threw the phone on the bed. Immediately started ringing again. It was on vibrate too, so it moved on the bed as though imploring me to pick up. I wanted to hear Maya's voice, unable to resist that urge. I almost reached out my hand. I can't do that. But the phone kept ringing. In order to escape from it, I ran out of my apartment. Okay, so I'm skipping a little bit ahead. We're pretty much just at the hot springs, but since I didn't really commit to any of the girls, I just kind of had a conversation with them, and it sounds like I'm just gonna be staying a girl. Wonder if it's okay for there to be a new girl who was originally a man to be mixed in there, though. I felt like I was kind of used to being a girl, even though it was probably dangerous to think of such things. So we just kind of end up one, I guess. I guess that's where this is heading towards. Dang, we're caked up. I think I can get rid of this. I kind of put that on because there was a lot of stuff. I'm probably just going to cut most of it. I did read it, but a lot of it was just kind of joking around. Walked past the front of the station. It was night and I was by myself. The hot springs had felt good, but I was still a girl and unable to return to normal. There was once an old manga about a girl who changed into a guy by taking a bath. Ranma and a half? Is that what that is? I don't... Sorry if I mispronounced that. I'd never seen it, so... But if it happened in a manga, we might have been able to solve the problem that way, since it's a dream. Was that why Club Prez had been so disappointed about it not working on the way back in the car? Club Prez must have been really hoping for me to turn back to normal in the hot springs. Since it didn't go well, I should have at least asked her what her plan was. She said something about how it would be meaningless if she told me. But even if it would have failed, if I became aware of it, it certainly failed now. If she told me now, maybe it'd give me an idea as how to return to normal. Then again, since it failed, maybe it wouldn't be worth the effort. Oh well, it's cold. I'm going home. The dusky road was naturally cold, and the warmth I had felt from the hot springs for being with everyone else was now gone. I wish someone was around, but I was alone. Clippers wanted to stay the night at my place again, but she got a text from Aussie. He was worried that she hadn't come home. So she reluctantly decided to go home instead. Hirosaka and Alice would probably be able to relax more at Saki's house. There's no reason for them to go out of their way to come to my apartment. Although that would probably only be for winter break. I couldn't really continue after school started. Caprez couldn't stay at my apartment, claiming it was awkward at home, and Hirosaka couldn't stay at the Hosono house forever. If the new semester started like this, was this the time to be worrying about other people? I should be worried about myself more than anyone else, having become a girl. Saki had said something on the way back about preparing a girl's uniform, and I would need one once the new semester started, so I couldn't just treat it like a scary possibility. Why did this have to happen? Maya had disappeared, the dream had gone crazy, and went unable to wake up properly. When was the situation going to end? I thought it would end once we woke up, but was it really possible for us to wake up? Would this messed up fantasy become a reality before we knew it? I started to worry. I might get used to having a woman's body, but I would still get pulled around by Alice and everyone through the weirdest of dreams. I didn't feel excited about it, rather I just felt worried. Emotions so far had settled chaotically, but we hadn't made any progress. We hadn't accumulated anything, and we weren't headed towards a finale at all. This world was crazy, so we couldn't do anything. When I closed my eyes, I saw the room prepared for another tea party. That room where the colors were hard in the eyes, and I was there alone. And all of a sudden, Maya was there. Maya? No, it was someone else. Who was it? I figure I didn't recognize someone I couldn't remember, even though I had definitely talked to them before. What was this? Maybe I'm tired. Saw something for a moment and missed my dizziness. Was I being saved by Alice in that room? No, it wasn't from that time. Was I forgetting something? Achoo! Ugh, so cold. Couldn't be anything important anyways. And so the dream would continue. Oh geez, if it's this cold, then I should have let her drop me off in the car. I gazed off in the direction the car had gone. Takara-san had offered me a ride, but I declined, saying I wanted to walk instead. I could only regret it now. It was cold enough that it felt like it might snow. I might catch a cold from this chill after taking a bath. I'm going straight to bed once I get home. There were tea and pastries in this dream, so maybe that would do for food. Normally I wouldn't, but maybe it would fill me up since this was technically the same dream. That sounded really convenient, but it would be weird just to depend on that. What's going to happen now? What would happen after the new semester started? And above all, I was worried about what would happen to me. Why on earth did this happen? Just then I suddenly felt as though someone had said something to me. I didn't know who, but it seemed familiar, and I turned around. There was no one there. Let's go home. I walked by myself. The sky really looked like it was going to snow. Oh. To be continued. Okay, so that's the neutral ending. Okay, I like it. I do. I'm going to leave it there, though, because I want to go jump straight into Alice's now. See what's going on there. Alright, let's go ahead and continue on from here. So we're going to make all the decisions we need to go into Alice's route. So Maya's asking us if there's someone we're interested in. When I said that, Maya looked surprised. My relationship with Saki is a little beyond that. Aren't you asking if there was someone I could fall in love with? I lied. It wasn't that I didn't see Saki as a girl, but with the recent dream and everything, if I said that to Maya now, I didn't know what she would do. You know why I said those things? I didn't know what would happen in the future. Maybe there was a future where Saki and I could be together. Huh. Strange. I don't think so. Yeah, I could never see that happening. No way. If that future happened, then Saki and I would be really in an inseparable relationship. That would unmistakably result in my weaker self taking advantage of Saki's compassion. If that happened, then my feelings of guilt would never disappear. No, definitely couldn't get with Yayoi. How do you know about Club Prez? Maya said that as though it was common knowledge. She clearly already knew about Club Prez. Did that mean that Maya was really something that had been born from my subconscious? Oh, us talking about dirty things? No, never. Not a good match for Club Prez. I don't know, maybe she just has more people. Maybe she has more people she does that around. I just don't know about it. Never thought that was anything special. Club Prez probably had other retreats I didn't know about. Besides, the reason Club Prez was so relaxed around me had to do with how we met. It was just a coincidence, not because I was special. No, I don't. Just making sure, okay. Maya scoffed at my desire to be interested in Club Prez and leaned towards me. If I admitted it, then Maya would probably show me a happy dream, and if I did that, then surely I would fall again. It looked like Maya enjoyed the fact that I was denying it. Was it fun for her to watch me struggle? I wanted to ask, but it was a pointless question. And Club Prez had her own circumstances. There are even some rumors about her. I have no intention of thinking that only I understood her. There had to be other people that she talked to. She was a stable, resilient individual. She had a much more well-adjusted life than I could have ever imagined. To think that I was somehow special to such a person was presumptuous, and it made my face warm with embarrassment. Where's this Tohru been? This confident Tohru, who's like, yeah, I'm just gonna give her an answer so she doesn't give me a dream. The one who popped in my head just then was Alice. I'm pretty sure that's who we select. Well, I suddenly thought of Alice. She so readily laughed, readily got angry, and readily showed when she was worried. I envied her, honestly. I don't know. I tend to think of someone who less easily shows their emotions. I think that can be a lack of emotional maturity, because I tend to think of that as being childish. Like children, like, you know, when they don't get something they want, they get angry or they cry. Like they go to those kind of emotions rather quickly. Like they don't really show any restraint. So I mean that's a good and a bad thing, I guess. Like I think it's good to be a little bit childlike, like to an extent, you know. Children are also just naturally curious. They're fun. They don't worry too much about things that necessarily don't matter at times. Maya leaned on me as if to push me down. Although she was light, she was strong enough to push me against the back of the chair. Oh, please don't be more H scenes. I couldn't escape. I thought that even before she did anything. Maya opened her mouth, was about to say something when suddenly she turned around and clicked her tongue. That was the sound of the doors unlocking, and immediately the entrance to this room opened. Oh, saved. Uh, I'm not doing anything. Something's being done to me. Oh, thank goodness you saved me from another H-scene. Maya daintily got off my lap and put some distance between herself, me, and Alice. It didn't seem to have the composure she showed to me, and Saki even seemed a little irritated. Alice asked apologetically with a bewildered look on her face. I didn't do anything, she did it to me. Yeah, I loved you as a sister, not whatever that was. Maya sneered at me. She didn't seem to like how I tried to deny it. That's verbatim. What do you mean? What did you not feel like causing mischief? Today or any other day? Maya waved her hand and took a step backwards. As if she had stepped into a void, Maya disappeared into thin air. The last thing we saw was her grin. Alice ran to where Maya had disappeared, but there was nothing there, nothing except that all too familiar fragrance. Alice seemed puzzled, so she felt the air as if trying to check for something, not waking up even though Maya left, huh? Watching her out of the corner of my eye, I sank into the sofa. My black tea, which I had left on the table, was now cold and tart. Yeah, it was. Alice stopped jumping around and after fixing the hem of her skirt, walked over to me. Well, yeah, I guess. Well, it wasn't actually that bad. It wasn't like she showed me a dream like she did with Saki, and the conversation we'd have was something that could have come up even in real life. I think it was about to get worse, though. As I sipped my now tart tea, Alice looked at me as she munched away on a scone. I couldn't tell Alice what I'd been thinking about with Maya. What? Long as it's not lewd. What do you want to do? I understood instinctively rather than rationally that it wasn't easy to get out of this room. I didn't know what would happen if we jumped out the window, but one thing was certain: we would get lost in the dream. I thought the doors might open since Maya was gone, but when I tried the knobs they rattled, but didn't budge. Yeah. Alice proudly brandished a key she took out of her skirt pocket. It was a dull, old-fashioned looking brass key with a bumpy tip. What does that key do? So this is what you do. This is what happens when we're struggling. You just come in at the end after we've learned our lesson, huh? You just go around and play. Freaking Alice. Alice finished the rest of her scone in one bite and moved me out of the way. She then inserted the key into the lock on the door. With a turn and a click, the door was unlocked without any difficulty. Just as I planned! My own creativity just kills me. This is the plan. What's on the other side of the doors?
まあいいから。そんじゃ行こっか。
Alice opened the doors, grabbed my hand, and jumped in. Hey, wait, Alice. I'm really curious to know what like the whole deal is behind Alice. Like, so we saw that girl in the hospital. I think that's her, right? Like, I'm safe to assume that's the same person because they have the same colored text and they sound similar and they look similar. A little different. I'm just wondering, like, what if she's just imagining this? Like, what if this is just all her dream that she showed us while we were in the hospital? Well, when I stepped through the doorway, I briefly felt a strange floating sensation. Alice had completely ignored me. Quickly landed in the middle of a mall inside the dream. Oh wow, it's the same mall that we've seen like 10 times. A strange place of overgrown plants all around us would look familiar. Shops weren't particularly strange looking. It just felt like the plants had been added to the scenery.
予定通りだね。なるほど。結構夢って自由にできるんだね。
Weren't you the one who said you can't keep altering dreams or you'll get trapped in them? Where are we? Judging by the surrounding stores, we appeared to be in a mall I knew well.
見ての通り水郷だと思うよ。
Yeah, it's the Tsukio Tower. So you had a vague idea.
だってほら、気分転換するにしても部屋の中じゃあんまりはしゃいで遊べないじゃない。だからこうして遊べる場所にやってきました。アリスちゃんすごい、かわいい。ほら、ここ褒めるところだから。
All right, guys, it's time to praise Alice-chan. Wow, amazing, cute. Oh, I need to do that a little more, Monte. Wow, amazing, cute. Okay, that was better.
ごめん、私が悪かった。もう調子に乗らないんで許して。
Yeah, I don't just play visual novels, guys. I'm actually a voice actor, you know, for these. I have to get into character, okay? All the sincerity I could muster apparently wasn't good enough, and I only managed to make Alice depressed instead. The passerbyers showed no interest in us as we made all this noise. They were indifferent. That was another thing that made me really feel like it was a dream. If we're gonna get played, then couldn't you have done something about these weird plants? Ever since I started dreaming about the room, my dream worlds have become infested with plants.
夢だってわかりやすいし、それに私この感じも結構好きだよ。
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I've been like, you know, chatting with you guys. Like sometimes it's confusing, like whether we're in reality or not, because it's like we can be in a dream and it doesn't have the plants, but the plants are a good indication, like mechanically, to the, you know, Tohru to tell him that he's in a dream. It also tells me that we're in a dream, and it's confusing when we go back and forth, and I don't know whether we're in a dream or not. I don't have fond memories of forests, because I wonder just if everything's a dream. What's reality? Is our reality just a dream too? Who knows? I don't have fond memories of forests, but I recall the night we couldn't go back together and suddenly felt exhausted.
トール、なんかあったの?
Something happened in a forest when I was little. Maybe it's precisely because I hated the forest that the dream had turned out this
じゃあ
way.
森林浴とか逆にストレス溜まっちゃうんだ。
Undoubtedly. That negative ion cleanse that was popular a while back, the self-help forest healing things like that, the opposite effect on me. I don't mind if there was plants in the room, but I couldn't take it if I was surrounded by greenery.
そっか。じゃあ夏に海か山かって言われたら間違いなく海なんだ。
I think most guys would be happy if a girl invited them to a pool or the beach. I replied as we walked along.
何それ、水着目当て？トールのエッチ。
Oh my gosh, we can't escape from being called a pervert. I mean, it's true, but Alice blushed and moved away from me. Actually, I think it'd be creepier if there was a guy who wasn't like that.
ああ、そりゃそんなこと考えない男の子がいたら確かに嘘だって思うけどさ。そうじゃなくて、単に遊びに行ける場所が減るねって意味だってば。
True.
なんか余裕ぶってますな。もしかして実は恋愛上級者？私程度の水着では心ときめかないとかそういうわけかな？
Actually, I almost think it's the opposite. I think the guys who aren't experienced in love are the ones that get most easily excited by things. They don't really have expectations of love in reality. They just probably prefer looks over personality. They just haven't really had the experience to know what they're looking for, I guess. So they just go for the things that they see rather than, you know, experiences and actually being able to talk to women. Because the reality is, like, if you got your idea of what it's like to be in a relationship and everything from like TV, it would be much different than it actually is in reality. So I would think, oh, I misread this entire sentence. Could it be that you're pretty experienced when it comes to love? So, okay. That makes much more sense. Don't mind me, guys. Don't mind me. I'm gonna get a comment that someone's typing before they realize that I caught it. No, I think even being experienced in love, you'd still get excited seeing the girl you like in a swimsuit. Absolutely. I think once you've been in a relationship for a long time, it's still exciting.
もしくはすっかりサキちゃんに骨抜きで他の女はどうでもいいの
Removed your spine. So now you don't care about other girls. Both wrong, according to other people. I'm actually boring because I have too much self-control. Yeah. That's honestly how they describe you. Yep. Therapist said that I was lame because I had a sturdier boundary between my desires and reason than your average person. I think if I was going to change something about Tohru, I wouldn't necessarily change his self-control. I think that's a good thing to have as a guy, because obviously you don't want to push boundaries. You don't want to do something that makes somebody feel uncomfortable. I think what he could change, though, is just be a little bit more flirty. I think if he actually flirted back, he can maybe naturally get into some of those, situations while being confident and not being creepy about it. Because, I mean, guys that just want sex and just, like, want to talk about how a girl looks, I think this comes off kind of creepy. Whereas I think, like, if you're charming enough and you're kind of flirty and, she's into it, you're into it, then you can make those things happen naturally, and it doesn't have to be a forced. You don't have to push somebody down, as a lot of the characters try to mention. It doesn't have to be, like, sexual harassment, right? Like, you can have those situations happen naturally. I didn't think so. I figured it was just that my mind was tired every day from my dreams, so I didn't have the energy to deal with people. I think Tohru can do that, because a lot of the girls already like him anyways. So I think if he was flirty enough, he could get himself into situations without having to be weird. And he'd probably not be called a pervert.
夢ではそんな見た目だけど、実は現実ではもうおじいちゃんとか、そういうことはないよね。
That's not true, right? Who are you calling an old man? I'm as old as I look. As we walked through town, we suddenly saw our reflections on a display window. What about you? You're not actually older, are you? Oh, this is getting good. My reflection gave an evil-looking smile. Okay, Tohru's into them older girls. Okay, quite different, because, I mean, a lot of the girls that he goes for are a little bit younger, except for Yayoi. Okay.
失礼な。私だってトールと同じ年です。あれ？そうだよね。
Yep, that's true. We are.
同じくらいの年だと思うんだけど。
I'm a second year at Tsukio, not at the annex building with the higher one.
ああ、じゃあやっぱり同い年だ。一緒一緒。
Colleagues. Alice happily shook my hand. Seeing that innocence, I couldn't help but let out a small sigh.
握手してため息ってひどくない？
Probably. Hey, weren't you the one that started talking about the beach and swimsuits and then started shaking my hand?
なんでそれでトールがため息つくの？
Alice tilted her head, seeming not to get it at all. Because if you are, you're definitely causing a lot of misunderstandings. I wonder if she's interested in me kind of misunderstandings.
そうかな？誤解するの？仲良くしたりとかしちゃダメですか？
Here's the thing about guys. And you'll hear this in memes and stuff, and I actually subscribe to it. I think it's true. I think guys are so depraved of compliments, so depraved of being told that, like, oh, hey, you look nice today, or, that was nice what you did back there. Those kind of things. We just don't get told, like, that we have value enough, that we kind of confuse when women flirt with us. And when they're giving us a compliment. When a girl like gives you a compliment, it almost seems like they're kind of flirting with you because it just doesn't happen often enough that you're like, oh, okay, they're trying to go out of their way to be nice, and I'm gonna interpret that as, oh, I think they're interested in me. I do think that's a real thing. I'm not saying every situation's like that, but I do think that that is common enough that a lot of guys do think that women are flirting with them when they're being nice, and it's hard to tell if that's what they really mean or not, just because we're so used to not getting complimented for things. Like I said, that's not every situation. You shouldn't interpret every girl that compliments you as flirting with you. Just because they say something nice or whatever doesn't mean that they like you. But I think that it just kind of happens naturally. Like we just kind of assume, just because we're so used to not being complimented. Alice finally realized what I was saying and blushed as she put her hands to her cheek. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it'll be a pain if people misunderstand you, you know? If you don't want to hurt people, then you should be more careful.
さすが美人さんの妹を持つお兄ちゃんは言うことが違いますな。
Wow, is Alice actually best girl? Like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, she's actually, like, treating us fairly for a lot of... Like, she's actually, like, noticing, like, hey, okay, what you said is actually kind of smart. Like, oh, you kind of have experience with that because, you have a sister, right? It's kind of nice to not be treated poorly. I mean, I know she still calls us a pervert and stuff, but I think it's more joking than some of the other girls. I think the other girls are trying to put us down sometimes when they call us a pervert, or at least they say it enough that it kind of makes it seem that way. Whereas I think Alice just kind of treats us a little bit more neutral. Like, she's not really trying to put us down, but she's just trying to have fun. I don't know. Am I totally wrong? Am my takes terrible this video? Like, am I just having these awful takes? Saki, yeah, she's pretty good about keeping a distance from people like that, I guess. Saki was like that around me, but around other people, she's more blunt and indifferent. At any rate, when she cuts people down, she really cuts them down so much that Asahi, Tetsuya, and even Club Prez are taken aback when they see her do it.
あれ、すごい顔してるけど、なんか変な地雷踏んだ?
No, it's fine. It's not a problem, but you probably shouldn't follow Saki's example. Then there was Club Prez, who just smoothly eludes people. She's really good at handling those situations. But the way she does it, excuse me, probably takes a toll on her, so I couldn't even do it if I wanted to, which I don't. I know, it's exhausting being fake. I can't do that. I definitely, like, try to be more enthusiastic when I'm recording than maybe I normally am otherwise. I think that's probably what most YouTubers do. But I think there's a difference between being enthusiastic and being fake. I wouldn't say when I'm recording that I'm being fake. I wouldn't say that I'm not being who I am. Because I make a lot of the same mistakes. I sit there, I don't know what to say. I don't know names of characters sometimes. I forget things. I forget things that happened before in the game. Like, that's just the real me. That's who I am. I forget things. I'm imperfect. I'm not trying to show you guys somebody that I'm not, Whereas, like, when I'm just being enthusiastic, I'm just trying to seem like I'm enjoying myself, and most of the time I am. I don't want to seem like I'm not enjoying something. Because it's like, I think that's one of the worst things that YouTuber can do, is, like, just play something that they don't enjoy. And I've definitely had that where I started recording something and I'm not enjoying it, so I just stopped recording it. That's what I do. Anyways, as for Alice, she doesn't seem to worry herself over things too much, so I'm sure she interacts with the people around her pretty openly.
何? 私の方をじっと見て、もしかして今言ってたみたいな勘違いさせたとか? 困るってば.
No, you didn't. You might make other people misunderstand, though.
それも困るな.
All of a sudden, Alice was holding an ice cream. It had a few scoops piled on the cone and actually looked pretty good. Eating ice cream, though it's cold.
外が寒いからアイス. 夢の中はそんなに寒くない.
Alice took my hand with her free hand. Hey.
トールはなんだかんだで細かいこと文句言いすぎ、考えすぎ.
Okay, yeah, Alice is best girl. She's laying into Tohru, and I love it.
そんなこと考えないでパーッと遊ぼう. 遊びなさい.
this is who he needed. I think either Tohru needed somebody like Saki, who can just kind of keep him in line and, you know, teases him, but also gets him to do things that he needs to do. I think that's great. I think some people have the kind of personality that they need someone more to guide them. I almost think I'm kind of that way. Yeah, a little bit. I definitely don't like to take the lead on things. I'm a more quiet, kind of go with the flow kind of person at times. So, I mean, I definitely have my opinions, don't get me wrong, but I try not to like cause conflict, you know, with people. So I guess I benefit from having a wife that maybe does kind of, I don't know, likes to take initiative on some things. Like I don't like making phone calls. Maybe that's just like because I grew up with social anxiety. Like I don't like talking on the phone. I can and I will, but I don't know. I've always had this hesitancy. I can talk to people in reality just fine, but I like to avoid any kind of situation like that if I don't have to do it. My wife is kind of the opposite. She'll just go talk to whoever. Even though she thinks she's shy. I'm like, she is a little bit shy around new people, whereas I think I'm a little bit more open. But, I don't know. It's good to have someone that kind of balances you out. That's all I'm saying. I think Tohru would very much benefit from someone who just kind of goes out there and has fun and isn't so serious. So I think Saki would be good for covering some of his weaknesses. I also think Alice would cover some others too. As soon as she said that, she pulled my hand and took off running, just like when we entered the dream. Ah, hey! Without knowing where we were going, we ran. Blue sky? Oh, they're trolling me. They're trolling! Alice really stood out the way she bounced through the drum like people around us. Every time I see a blue sky with Alice, I'm gonna be like, blue sky? And yes, I looked at the routes, like the choices you have to make, and I don't make the blue sky choice until I get to the true end, and that pisses me off because I want to know. I didn't know what was so fun to her, but her happy, carefree attitude grabbed my attention and didn't let go. I think I've mentioned the blue sky like every episode since I last saw it. Like, it's haunting my dreams. You guys, I bet, are so enjoying that, and I hate it. I'll be there soon. Like, a few more videos, hopefully. Y'all said, like, I don't have much more left to go, so I'm really excited because I'm, like, so done with, like, the little in-between stuff. Like, I want to go. I want to know what's going on. After that, we played all around town. Next thing we knew, the sun had set, and along with the town lights, a very bright moon was shining in the sky.
やっぱり夢って便利だよね。いくら食べても太らないし。
Damn, I need to dream more, because it's like, I'm just like the heaviest I've ever been, and it's sad. Still think you're eating a bit much.
だって私もトールも夢を自由にできるんだから。スポーツも映画も面白くないじゃない。
Yeah, because they just go the way you expect. Because we can manipulate the world however we want, and movies and dreams just turn out the way we want them to.
となれば夢の世界を利用した食べ歩きしかないでしょ。
Walk around eating. Isn't that considered rude in Japan to walk around and eat? Why are we doing that? Alice thrusted the coffee cup out towards me. Maybe this is what every Japanese person fantasizes of. Being able to like talk on the phone in public and be able to eat while you're walking. Alice thrusted the coffee stand cup out towards me. It was true that you were the happiest if something was as delicious as you thought it would be. Oh, that's so true. Like ordering food and then it's just like not as good as you wanted it to be. Most disappointing thing. It's like, that's why I just go to the same places now. I don't really like to try new places because I never know if it's going to be good or not.
それに再現するのも2人だったら確実でしょ。
Or you order like more basic things because it's hard to mess up the basic things. Yeah, well the taste is pretty much what I was
つま
imagining.
りそれって私とトールのイメージが大体一緒だったってことじゃない？
Yeah, maybe. There were various places we could hang out in Tsukiya, so we went around to the stores we could visit on the way home from school. Crepes, takoyaki, taiyaki, donuts, ramen, coffee stands, cake shops, etc. Actually pretty familiar with these places after being led around by Saki and Prez and sometimes Tetsuya and Asahi. Wait, I thought you lived in a neighboring town, Alice. With all we've done, you seem pretty knowledgeable about the shops here.
やっぱり水郷の方が遊ぶとこ多いから休みになるとこの辺にフラフラ来たりしてるし
The place Alice had told me about, which was several train stations away, certainly didn't have many places to hang out at. On days off there were more students around the front of the station, so Alice was probably one of those that came to play like that too. It looks like it's getting pretty late. It would probably be good to stop things here. I'm wondering if she's still in the hospital. She seems to be like around whenever we want, and she's also available during the day. So we know she was in the hospital with us. So she had that condition. She was saying something about it makes her like pass out. I don't know if that means that she's gonna like fall and drop dead, or if that just means she's gonna pass out. So I'm wondering if she is kind of like in a comatose state. Maybe she goes like in and out of it. Okay, this is just adding to my theory though. So I would imagine since she's been in the hospital for so long, she doesn't get out to go do fun things. So maybe this is like her subconscious. Something like that. Maybe this is like what she wants to be doing. She wants to go out and have fun, and it's just kind of fantasy-like. Just because she's stuck in the hospital all the time, or she's just passed out and she can do nothing but dream.
確かにねこれ以上遊ぶと起きた時に疲れちゃうもんね
Stop not being able to rest even in your dreams. Just the thought of that made me weary. It was something I'd sighed over a countless number of times. 逆に夢の中で好き勝手に遊べたら起きてからも頑張ろうって思わないほら毎日が日曜日みたいじゃない It's like every day Sunday. Hey, today's Sunday as I'm recording this. Nice. Incredibly positive, really, it's impressive.
今バカにしなかった
A little. I am envious, though. I meant what I said, but Alice still looked annoyed. I doubt she understood how hard it was not to be able to rest even when you slept. That was just me. If you were as positive as Alice, it probably wasn't hard at all. Well then, I don't know if we'll be able to wake up, but let's go back. I tossed my empty coffee cup into a garbage bin that was conveniently available. Why are we worried about garbage in a dream? Gosh, we're so Japanese. Alice threw away her cup in the same bin, but she didn't look back at me. I was learning recently that it's really hard to find trash cans in Japan. Apparently, you can only find them in certain places. I guess because they had a bombing. And somebody like threw something in a trash can, so they like took away a bunch of them, and now it's kind of hard to find them in public places. You have to kind of search for them at times. Not to say that there isn't any, but I've heard it's harder to find them. Alice threw away her cup in the same image. She didn't look back at me. What's wrong? She still didn't turn around. I had a bad feeling about this. And Alice turned around as slowly as a tin toy. Up, wake up. How do we wake up? She had a stiff, fake smile on her face. I pondered for a moment. Maybe we'll be able to figure something out if we go back to that room for now. Same way we came? Then I remembered we had opened the doors to the stream with a key Alice had made and then jumped through. Couldn't look for doors we came through because it had already disappeared when we arrived here. Why don't you try that key on some random doors and see if they'll open? It didn't work. Why? Maybe it'll work if I try making a key? I tried it, but it didn't work. In fact, I was unable to make a key in the first place. Why is this happening? I was tried making different keys and trying them, and none of them worked. They've been trying the keys on a set of emergency doors with no one around, but they didn't lead to anywhere different. Then there's some place we can get out. That was like a forest. When it got really dark, I knew my heart was going to get even heavier. Yeah, I didn't think about that. So they were talking about how he kind of gets a little bit of PTSD from like being around the forest and stuff, or anything that reminds him of the forest. I guess that's where the happy nightmare comes in, because like even if we're having a good time, we're always haunted by all these flowers and plants and everything that reminds us of the forest, right? Like it's seeping in. I didn't really think about that. That must be kind of traumatic, always being around this. Sounds like you're foreshadowing that we're going to be wandering around here for days, unable to get out. I'd spent several days in a single dream before.
困るよトールと何日も二人きりなんて
What? I take everything nice I said about you back, calling us a pervert. Why would we have to be together? All she had to do was use a hotel or something, and this was Sukiya, then I could just go to my apartment.
そういえばそうなんだけどバラバラになるのって不安じゃない
Yeah, I guess. But there's no guarantee we'd be able to get out no matter how many days we spent here. Tried closing the doors and opening them again one more time.
呆れたこんなところで二人で何を遊んでいるの
I like how Maya's just casually hanging out, and the music didn't change, so it's not like she's like here to mess up our time. Maya was standing around the other side. Naturally, she was in the room with the tea party preparations. Maya?
本当だ
Maya came to the door and put her arms around my neck.
それで何をそんなに困ってたのかしら
You see, Alice invited me here for a change of scenery, but we didn't know how to get back.
自分で勝手に夢をつなげてそこから起きられないとかアリスってば変なところで器用なのね反省してますもう適当に夢の世界に行こうなんて思いません
What is this? I feel like we're like best friends now, everybody. Maya snorted with laughter, reminding me a bit of
今
Saki.
日はもう起こしてあげるからほらこっちに来てとりあえずお茶でも飲んだら
Like this is turning into a little bit of a rom-com. I don't know, this is great. Walked through the door with Maya still dangling from my neck. It was like there's no weight to her. Alice followed behind me.
夢には終わりを決めておかないといつまで経っても起きられなくなるわよ
Yeah. Seeing Maya with a meaningful smile and me with a wry one, Alice tilted her head in confusion. This feels like it should be one of those little dream sequences where they're just kind of talking to each other. Oh, this was early on, because this was right before chapter 3.
いつだったか気楽に
Okay, I'm gonna skip that, sorry, Yaoi. Again, I found myself in this room as I fell asleep. Okay, let me make sure I'm making good choices. I think I need to... Okay, we skipped the next selection. So I have to resist. Then I was interested in Alice. Okay. Okay, I can probably get there from here. I only thought of Alice. The girls I was close to always either had one or two quirks or already had a boyfriend. Among those, the only one who was honest and optimistic was Alice.
あらいるって顔してるけど誰なのかしらそれにどうして私を見てそんな面白い顔をしているの
I was just wondering why all the people around me, including my sister, are like this. Yeah, I can't skip that.
仕
Perfect.
方ないわだって兄さんがそういう人を呼んでしまうんだもの
You're saying it's my fault.
ええさきちゃんがあんな風になったのもルーティが二人きりの時は素直なのもそれにきっとこれから仲良くなる人たちもみんなそんなだからそばにいてくれるしいることになるのよ
Wow, okay, it's kind of interesting to hear her talk about that. Maya giggled like she was having so much fun she couldn't stand it. What do you mean after this? Don't just decide my future. It's not like you've seen it.
だけどわかるんだから仕方ないじゃないそれにまさか普通の人と一緒に過ごせると思っているのよく普通でいたいって言ってるでしょだけどそれって今は普通じゃないってことだもの知っているんでしょ自分がどこか歪んでるのがだけどそれはねそばにいる人はみんなわかってるのだったら普通でいる人はやっぱり普通でいたいものそばにいたら不安になっちゃうわ
Huh. Normal people are gonna want to stay normal. If you were next to them, you'd make them anxious. Okay, kind of implying that we have like an aura around us that kind of isn't normal. Though she was petting a cat, Maya tickled my throat with the back of her fingers.
それでもまっすぐでいたい、普通になりたいと思うのは素敵だわ。それを素敵だって思える人はきっと私だけじゃないし、それに歪んでいることが好きな人や歪んでいることに気づかない人だっているかもしれないわ。
You're talking about me like I'm some kind of perverse human being.
いい悪いを言ってるわけじゃないもの。勘違いしちゃダメよ。そういった意味じゃどうしようもないほどに善人だわ。逆立ちでもしないと悪いことなんてできないほどに。
Maya kept going.
もっと周りを理解しないといつか手遅れになるわ。
Maya's mouth moved ever so slightly, like it was with me. She mouthed those words and giggled. I gritted my teeth and looked away. It's all I could do. I could neither push her away nor fully accept her.
それじゃあまたね。今度も一緒におしゃべりしましょう。
I don't know, I really like that whole conversation. I like how she's implying that Tohru is abnormal. That's why he attracts such abnormal people. Maya got down from me and melted into the air. Her voice continued to ring in my ears. How could it be too late someday when it already is? It happened just as I went limp in the empty room. There was the sound of doorknobs turning and someone came in.
やっほー。こんばんはでいいのかな。アリスだよ。
Wow, I didn't know who it was. I can see that.
あれ、なんだかご機嫌斜め。というか体調悪そうだけど大丈夫？
I'm fine. I was just bullied a little, so I was moping. When I said this jokingly, Alice stood in front of me with a serious
なんで
look.
どうして？そんなの良くない。なんでそんなこと。
Wait, don't get the wrong idea. I don't mean that I was bullied at school or anything. Maya was just here. I hurriedly added, surprised that Alice had gotten so serious so quickly. Scratched my head. So it's my own fault in a way, because no matter how you look at it, it's my fault Maya is
そ
here.
れはなんていうか、いじめがなくてよかったって言うべきか。それとも
Alice hesitated a little, like it was hard to say. Say it.
トールは自虐プレイがお好みってことなのかな。
I don't know. I wonder if Tohru. I do wonder sometimes. Alright, that's it. Stay right
ノー
here.
サンキュー。遠慮しておくよ。
Alice ran away from where she had been in front of me, her arms flapping as she went. I heaved a sigh and realized I'd actually relaxed a little. Alice was peering at me, wearing a face like she was a child interested in what I was doing. Let out a deep sigh. Sometimes I wonder that myself, so cut me a little break. I don't know, it is interesting though, because I always say Alice is kind of childlike, and it's like, well, she's been in a coma probably on and off maybe for a long time. She was what, like, were they 10? Something like that? I don't know, she seemed kind of mature outside, like in reality, for her age. So it's very interesting that Alice is kind of different in that way. She's more carefree. I almost wonder if it's kind of like a character she created. Like she's kind of being somebody else. Like obviously they look similar. Maybe personality-wise they have some similarities, but this version of her is a lot more goofy. So that's why I'm wondering if it's kind of like an imagined version. Or if she's just playing pretend. I don't know. I wonder that myself, so give me a break.
つまりサキちゃんがちょっとクールでトールに厳しいのはお兄ちゃんの好みに合わせた結果。
Stop right there. Alice ran away from me. Really ran away from me this time. She started to prepare tea for herself as she played dumb. That's a whole different
なん
reason.
か言った？
I said that if we're talking about my preferences, I prefer girls more like you, Alice, than Saki. Though I said it jokingly, the pot fell from Alice's hands. Alice stood there bright red and frozen. I was taken aback, not thinking that I'd get much of a reaction. The pot rolled beneath the table, making a dull noise out of sight.
足に落ちた。トールが変なこと急に言うから。
I don't know, she says something weird. I actually think that was one of the nice moments that Tohru's had, where he's kind of flirting. We're talking about my preferences. I prefer girls more like you, Alice and Saki. Like, that's flirty, okay? That's the kind of stuff that gets you in good situations, if you're trying to be. Well, that was my fault, but are you okay? I stood up and went over to her. The crouching Alice glared at me with tears in her eyes as she held her foot. Her face was still red and she was obviously on guard. Look, I'm sorry. Not only did the fallen pot not have a single crack, its contents had hardly spilled at all. I placed it back on the table and held out my hand to Alice, but she moved away. You don't have to be so cautious.
こういう冗談は女の子に言うものじゃないと思う。
No, don't apologize. Hadn't really been a joke since it made Alice uncomfortable. I gave up and moved away from her. It just made her uncomfortable because she's not used to you saying those kind of things. I mean, not every situation is like that. Don't make girls uncomfortable, especially if it's unwanted. Seeing that, Alice reached for the teapot on the other side of the table, but she couldn't quite get it. Moved the pot over to where she could reach it, to which she took it very cautiously.
俺はもっと奥手なイメージがあったんだけど。
Late bloomer, huh? I guess it's true that I don't really feel like I want a girlfriend right now. I don't think of myself as much of a late bloomer, and it's not that I disliked girls. Alice, having finally poured her tea, drank it as she munched on a chocolate-covered donut and glared at me.
だけど、トールって彼女いたことないよね。
That's not true. I hesitated as to whether or not I should say that. No?
なんでそんな迷いながら言うの？
I didn't have a
そ
girlfriend,
れと
but...
も、サキちゃんをちゃんと彼女として扱ってあげていたことがありますか？
What's with that aggressive tone? Like I said before, Saki's my girlfriend, she's my little sister. That wasn't always the case, though. Alice knew about the reason behind that excuse. She looked at me with a small frown on her face. You understand that when you see my dream anyway, so I don't really want to talk about it.
まあ、そうかもしれませんけど。
She didn't look convinced. At this rate, not only Saki and Club Press, but me and Alice's dreams would probably be seen by everyone. Having already stepped into the dreams of two people, I couldn't say that I absolutely wouldn't allow for that to happen. Although it might just deepen our wounds to show them to each other, basically it wouldn't solve anything. I don't know. I think it's good to kind of be vulnerable and have someone be vulnerable to you as well. I think that vulnerability kind of builds a bond. It builds trust. As long as you feel comfortable, like they don't, like if you're vulnerable to someone and then they like use that against you or they make fun of you, like that's not gonna create a bond, right? But if you're vulnerable to someone and like they don't judge you and they're still nice to you, like they don't really change their attitude towards you, I think that's a good thing. I think having someone just kind of treat you normally after finding out something like a deep secret about you, I think that's what builds trust. Knowing that you feel comfortable around them.
まあ、その辺の話はこの辺にしておいてあげてだね。
It's not incredibly condescending, but thank you. Alice gave me a very apparent nod.
トールの学校ってそういうのどうなの？その恋人同士とかって結構いるの？
I'm not sure. Why do you ask?
いや、私のいるとこがその辺厳しいわけじゃないんだけど、出会いがないというかなんというかね。
Oh, this is the first time we've ever heard about her going to a school. Whether the atmosphere in the room seemed to change if Alice just changed the subject. Is it an all-girls school or something?
そういうわけじゃないんだけど、割り切ってるというか、まあその辺ダメというか厳しい空気なんですよ。はい。
I don't know the details, but it seemed like she was going to a pretty strict school. Thought it best to just accept it for what it
なん
was.
で学校での恋愛ってどんな感じなのかなと思ったんだけど。
Oh yeah, you were saying that you didn't have a boyfriend.
いませんよ。何その珍しい生き物を見るような目は。しかもそれが希少種で絶滅寸前みたいな哀れみも感じる。
That's about right. She was inexperienced and soft-hearted. She seemed unaccustomed to romance, so maybe she was pretty sheltered. Felt weird like there was still such people in this day and age. There's a lot. Absolutely.
言っとくけど、私から見たらトールみたいなのも十分珍しいからね。
Like, I'm not disagreeing. It does seem weird to know that there's people that are like this that don't really have that concept, just because I feel like we live in such a time, right? That people just know everything now, and it's good and bad. But yeah, there's totally people that are sheltered like that don't really have an understanding of that. I mean, they don't have probably internet access. All the people on the internet, we just have such an age of technology that you can just find out anything. You can learn about things pretty quickly, which is good and bad. So the people that are sheltered don't have access to that, so obviously they wouldn't know. I know my circumstances are a bit strange, but I also thought that maybe everyone was more or less like this and just didn't show on the outside, or had they had different goals. I don't think there's anything strange about my school other than the fact that it's a combined school, although that was pretty strange in and of itself. I don't know, I thought most schools in Japan are mixed.
一貫校そういえばトールとサキちゃんって制服のデザイン違うよね。
Had I shown her before, Saki and Alice might have talked about it when I wasn't around. Yeah, Saki's a third year in the Annex building. When she graduates from there, she'll enter the main building. Tsukio Academy, 6 years split between the Annex building and the main building. Maybe that's what he meant by mixed. Just because I'm like, well, that'd be kind of weird if most of the schools were just like all guys or all girls. Though the school buildings were separate, some facilities were shared. The area known as the special wing that housed the gym and the labs were big and fancy. I actually think the whole idea of that's pretty cool, like having separate buildings, but it's kind of a more natural transition. I think I've mentioned that before when they were first talking about both the buildings. I actually think that would be really nice. And then having a shared thing, I think that would just make it better for kids maybe in like the middle school age going into high school. Like you would kind of know the progression. You would kind of see the other kids around. I know a lot of kids like hate their schools. Like I've heard that from a lot. Like they just hated their school and couldn't wait to get out of it. But I think in an ideal environment, that would be kind of nice. Like it's good for I think kids to get to see like older kids. I think they learn from their example, right? I noticed that between like middle schoolers and high schoolers, like the difference is massive. Like even just like Rick, what is it when you like just freshmen? Sorry, I was having a blank. When like a freshman versus like an 8th grader, right? Like so we're talking about like between 8th and 9th. That's usually the bridge right there, at least in American schools. There's a massive difference between like how they act, because in high school you don't act like all wild and stuff and immature, whereas like there's a lot of mature 8th graders too, but like middle schoolers are a lot less mature. I think it's good for younger kids to see the older ones because they kind of learn from them, and that's a good thing. It kind of helps them mature faster. Anyways, I've worked with kids, so that's why I know that. After I explained this to Alice, she started with the questions. What?
付属の子と付き合ってたりするとやっぱり何か言われるんじゃないの？逆もありそうだけど。
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It depends on the situation. For example, in the sports clubs, there was a hierarchy. There were people going out between the annex and main buildings, so you heard about people going out with older students a lot. Saki and I are known as siblings at school, so that kind of talk doesn't really pop up.
さきちゃん、兄さんって言ってるもんね。名字違ってもまさかそれがプレイだとは思わないか。
I think I just heard something disturbing. Hobby?
プレイ。いや、理由があるのは察してるけど、トール、わざわざその辺説明してないでしょ?
Well, it's true that I hadn't. It's really funny to me. Like that when you're young, it's like, oh, if you're going out with somebody or you're hanging out with somebody that's like a year older or 2 years older, ooh, whoa, wow, that's crazy. Whereas like when you're older, it's just like, yeah, there's like 20-year-olds that date like 30 or 40-year-olds. Like it happens sometimes. It's like, yeah, it's weird when there's too big of a gap, but like I know a lot of people that like just family, like older family, they're like 11 years apart, and that's nobody thinks that's weird. Like it's just normal. Like they get along, it's whatever. But like when you're young, it's like, oh, 2 years is a massive amount of like difference in your personality and where you are in life. Whereas once you hit a certain age, like I don't know, some people are pretty mature by 20, some people are really mature by 30, And I'm sitting here at 26, so I'm kind of in between. I'm my age. How about that? If suddenly say actually we're not related, then that's just gonna make people even more suspicious.
確かに。
Why are you still unconvinced?
結局トールはサキちゃんのことをどうしたいのかと思って。
Alice, you're gonna ask that even though you saw that dream.
ごめん。だけどね、
The serious look, Alice held her palm out to me as if to say, hold on.
妹って言うけど、妹だから手を出さないのと、手を出したくないから妹ってことにしてるのは違うよね。
Okay, so difference between making a move on her, not making a move because you're your sister, and making her your sister because you don't want to make a move on her. Okay, I see what he's saying, or what she's saying. So, like, if she was our sister, like, okay, she's our sister, we're not gonna make a move on her. But instead, I'm making her my sister, so I don't have to make a move on her. Like, I kind of want to, but I'm gonna put her in this sisterly role. I'm gonna, like, sister zone her, you know? So that because I don't want to make a move on her. I don't want to have to make a move on her. Maybe I'm not interested in her. I don't want her to be interested in me, so I'm going to put this barrier so I don't have to make that decision actively. Or, yeah. You know which one it is, don't you?
それはまあ。だけど、周りにはその辺うまく勘違いさせてるよねと思って。
What are you trying to say? I thought my voice sounded a little harsh, but Alice didn't seem bothered.
私が言いたいのはね。
This is Alice said that the door's open.
アリスさん、余計な心配はしなくていいわよ。
Was she listening in? Clicking the heels of her outfit, Saki walked through the doors. Brushed her hair up elegantly and walked to the side as though that was perfectly natural.
結局我慢の試合だもの。兄さんに見境をなくさせれば私の勝ち。我慢し続ければ兄さんの勝ち。そうでしょ?
The standing Saki looked down at me as I remained seated. Make me forget myself. You're just gonna walk in here and say that all of a sudden?
というか、それって普通はなくしちゃダメなものじゃない?
Yeah, I would think forgetting yourself. I think we're talking about like forgetting your morals or your values and just giving in. I think that's a bad thing.
兄さんならいつけだものになってもいいって言ってるのに。
No, it isn't.
合意の上ならいいんじゃないの? 別に血がつながってるわけでもないんだし。
I mean, yeah, Yayui's right. When did you get here? With a yo, Kleprez walked for the door without any hesitation. She left the doors open, so I hadn't noticed because there wasn't the usual sound of the doorknobs.
いや、それはこっちのセリフなんだけど。だけど、言ったままになったわね。
ええ。本当に弥生先輩もここに来るようになっちゃったんですね。
You sound so disappointed. Kleprez seemed quick and to the point, just as how she usually was.
それよりも、トールとサキちゃんがどうとかこうとか。ダメよ。夢の中だからってハメ外しちゃう。
I'm being careful about that.
俺は?
At Kleprez's gaze, I turned away as quickly as possible. I don't want to hear it from you, okay? I was scared of me accidentally letting that slip. She must have understood the meaning behind it. As for Saki, it looked like she had thought that I was purposely hiding that from other people. Despite having a smile on her face, she gave me a look that told me I was going to regret it later. Looked like she didn't like the fact that I was hiding it, but she kept herself from asking about it.
なんか弥生、それ煽ってるように聞こえるんだけど。正直ちょっと煽ってた。
She said it so bluntly I didn't even feel the need to get angry.
サキちゃんがどう思ってるにしろ、実際押し倒したりとかダメだと思うし。
Nodded at Alice's words.
それに一応でも何でも兄弟なんだから。もう二人が望んでるならまだしも。そうじゃないなら、やっぱり今のままくらいがギリギリだと思うの。
ギリギリですか?
Yeah, pushing the limit, and likely towards the cliff.
確かにアリスの言うこともわかるわ。二人ってば時々、よく私にも入り込めない空間作っちゃうし。
羨ましいですか?
そういう相手がいるのは羨ましいわよ。
I think it's nice to have someone in your life that you can be so close to. That you can just kind of tease each other all the time, and you know that it's just in good fun. Lucky seemed taken aback by Kleprez saying that so casually. Apparently she had been expecting something different. So you've been getting on my case about that for a while now. What's up?
その辺を解決するアイディアを思いついたのよ。
Alice puffed out her chest proudly, but from personal experience, whenever someone was proud or confident, I felt like something bad was coming. What kind of idea?
トールかサキちゃんに恋人ができればいいんじゃない？
Saki and I looked at each other. The surprise on her face.
あら、思ったよりずいぶんまともな解決方法だったわね。
I mean, yeah, that would kind of solve some problems.
私を何だと思ってるの？
I was thinking the same thing, though I wasn't about to admit
兄
it.
さんに誰か彼女ね
Saki didn't look mad. Instead, she looked like she was thinking. She seemed like she was thinking. What's with that wistful face, and what about
サ
you?
キちゃんはトールさえいなければ引く手あまだよ。もともと選ぶ立場の側だわ。
そういうのはもうちょっとオブラートにくるんでようよ。
え。ま、今のところ兄さん以外の男になんて興味もないからいいんですけど。
こういうことよ。
Oh. Hold up, I need to reread that better. I just kind of glanced over it. For the time being told that anew made me feel even guiltier.
気にしなくてもいいのよ。この状況に我慢できなくなったら、その時は自分で何とかするから。
I'm so confused by everything that's going on. Like this whole start to Alice's kind of route, I guess. Like everybody seems so much more sensible, and I don't know what to make of it. Like, look, Saki's having reasonable, thoughts. She's just like, okay, I'm just gonna keep doing this, but if I ever get to a point where I don't want to, I'll just figure it out on my own. Like, this is the most reasonable, calm, rational takes I've ever heard. An outrageous line uttered with a smile. Really? You think it's outrageous? I mean, it probably is outrageous for her, because I think she might be telling lies. Maybe she doesn't want to get over us. I mean, every time she's talked about it, I don't think she really wants to. Even though we've, been in a relationship with other girls, I think she still wants to be a part of it. But I don't know. At least from what I was hearing, it sounded reasonable. Conversation got so outlandish, all I could do was sit there as silent as a clam. I wanted to get out of here so badly.
兄さんに私以外の相手って言うと。
Saki gazed at Alice in surprise.
もしかして私に何か期待されてる？
この場合、期待というよりも警戒じゃないかなって思うけど。
Yeah.
まあ、選ぶのは兄さんなんで、弥生先輩のことを邪険にする気もないんですけど。
本当にできた子だわ。トールにはもったいない。
I think that twos don't worry well for the most part.
あら、何か不満なところがあるなら言ってもらえる？
Give me my privacy back. To be more specific, don't come in the morning without permission. Don't come even when it's not
そ
morning.
のくらい別にいいじゃない。
Try saying that after you've had it done to you.
私、朝弱いから毎日朝日が頑張って起こしてるわよ。
姉妹と血のつながらない兄弟は違うんじゃないかな。
Said Alice, not entirely sure of
つま
herself.
り私の方が正しいのよ、兄さん。
No, you're not. Definitely
今
not.
さら隠したいものがあるわけでもないくせに。
I don't know. Whether you're doing something that's worth hiding or not doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't have a right to privacy. You should always have a right to privacy.
そう言ってて、もしもトールに彼女ができたら？
Yeah, just because he doesn't have a girlfriend or just because you don't walk in on him doing something inappropriate, doesn't mean he shouldn't have some privacy. Like, if he wants to wake up and he wants to just be by himself, that's his right to.
妹として挨拶しなきゃいけませんよね。
Sunky put a lightly clenched fist to her chin and flashed a brilliant smile. For some reason, the room still felt cold. What was this?
というか、私じゃなくてもトールって意外に誰か女の子引っ掛けられるんじゃないの？
Isn't the answer no as soon as you said surprising?
このなんか頼りないところを刺激されちゃってとかなんとかかんとか。母性本能？
Sunky and Alice nodded. Apparently, they understood what she meant.
ただ、兄さんってファッションとか性格のせいで頼りないんじゃなくて、本気ですり減ってるから軽い気持ちで付き合うと疲れますよ。
What do you mean my style?
つまり本当の母性が試されるわけね。
My question was completely ignored. I couldn't help but feel a little dejected. Wait, why are we talking
アリ
about
スが
this?
トールに彼女できればいいんじゃないとか言い出して。
確かに言ったけど。
And Saki looked at me like she wanted to say something. What?
弥生先輩はともかくアリスさんのことはどう思ってるのかなと思って。
Yeah, I think we should do a Chad move and actually just like get together with Alice right now.
私
What do you think? Well, Alice, does Alice even really
実
exist?
際に会ったこともないものね。
私ってば存在そのものが疑問視されてる。
I mean, Tohru, that's a fair point, but also not a great way to pick up women. Okay, questioning whether they really exist. That's definitely something a visual novel fan would do. Alice put her hand on her face and slumped down, but that didn't change the fact that we didn't know who she was. Made it hard to think of her as a girlfriend.
誰が相手でもいいけど。
あ、いいんだ。
ええ、納得できれば。できなかったらできるようになるまで何でもするわ。
Wondering why Saki's being so quiet. She's being so like polite.
愛が重いわね。
でもそれって兄さんも一緒じゃないかしら。
Eh, I do? I don't have the luxury to pay as much attention to the people around me as you do.
だけど私が急に兄さんも知らない誰か捕まえて恋人ですなんて紹介したら納得する？
I would definitely investigate his identity. Saki looked at Klepres proudly. Klepres accepted this with an exasperated sigh.
あ、なんだろう。二人ともやっぱりその辺兄弟だわ。
She said as though she were annoyed. As she did, I noticed Alice looking at me with an expression as if she were pondering something. Gosh, that was quite a long conversation. Must have been time to wake up because Saki and Klepres left for the doors.
それじゃまた明日ね。
If I'm able to get up.
大丈夫よ。きちんと起こしに行ってあげるから。
Then the two of them left. I'll figure something out. See ya, Alice.
またね。
Alice looked a little lonely, but I couldn't stay here forever, so I went through the doors, but... Huh? Even though I'd gone through the doors, I was sitting on the sofa like I always did.
あれ
I'd appeared behind Alice after she saw me off, so she looked at me in wonder.
トール、まだ起きられないの？
Looks like it. I got the feeling that if I went through the doors again, I would either end up right back here or in another strange dream. Maybe you kept me here, Alice.
そんなことしてないよ、多分。
Probably. You said probably.
いや、だってまた起きるまで一人かって今思っちゃったから、もしかしたらって。
Okay, so she does wake up. I couldn't get angry with her when she was being so honest. There was nothing wrong with her thinking that. Well, that's fine. I gave up and sat back down on the chair before reaching for a scone. The other pastries were too sweet for me, so I didn't feel like eating a lot. I munched the not too sweet, not too dry, perfectly cooked suburb scone.
トールはさ、恋人とか欲しくない
Oh
の？
gosh, we're back to this CG. Well, why do you ask all of a sudden? Here, we're gonna...
いや、さっきもそんな話になったのに、なんか落ち着いてるみたいだったからさ。
Alice sat at her usual chair and held her knee. I wonder if she realized that her skirt was being propped up when she put her leg on the chair. I wasn't about to tell her. Oh yeah, haven't we seen this? Is this new? Reason I held back. Okay, this actually happened really early on, so this is a different scene. Reason I held back Saki was because of my own inadequacies. I was pretty sure Alice knew that too. I'm not dreaming when I say it'll work out somehow if I ended up not having a
できな
girlfriend.
くてもいいの？
I've said this before, but I'm honestly a real pain when I'm awake. So my lucid dreams is always frowning. My physical condition couldn't be called stable. Not like I've given up. I understand that there's some real hurdles. Excuse me. Finished the scone and was licking the crumbs from my fingers when I noticed Alice was staring at
う
me.
ん、
What is?
普通誰かと一緒にいたい、恋人欲しいって思うものじゃないの？
I think most people do. But I mean, I've had friends and known people that don't. They're just okay with being with themselves. Or they do end up with somebody and they're still okay by being with themselves, but sometimes they like to enjoy the company of another person. I got friends, I got family like that. You know, it is what it is. I'm not here to judge. Not that I don't want one, I just don't want to aim too high and count my chickens before they hatch. Maybe. I unconsciously tried to limit the number of people close to me because it'd be painful if we had to part. I know, isn't that the worst? Having anxiety, like, of doing something because you know, like, if you have too good of a time or you have good friends that maybe you'll lose them. Like, you just have this fear of, like, anytime you have something good in life that it's gonna go away. It's the worst. I felt like that a lot. The tranquility of my mind was a vessel, then it was a cracked one and on the verge of spilling. Saki somehow managed to support me. If anything more happened, I don't know what would happen to me. What about you, Alice? Do you ever wish you had a boyfriend?
私そうだな
Alice rocked her chair slightly back and forth.
わかんない
She said, looking troubled.
いやほらだって私ここ以外の記憶残ってないわけだし
Still can't remember.
全然行ったことのある街並みとかそういうのは思い出せるんだけどそれ以外はさっ
I
ぱり
mean, that's more than I feel like she remembered for a while. I don't think she did say that she had been to Tsukiya before, so she probably didn't live that far
つま
away.
り私は男の子っていうとトールくらいしかまともに話してないわけでそこで好きか嫌いかっていうともう相手が一人しかいないじゃない
Yeah, I guess.
なんでわかんないトールのことは嫌いじゃないしむしろこうして話してたり一緒にいるのは好きなんだけどそれって友達ってことじゃないのかなと思うわけですね
But even if you did start loving or hating someone in such a short amount of time, you wouldn't know why.
Yes. まあわからない以上答えようもないわけで
I don't know. Apparently, if we're to believe that girl in the hospital was you, then you guys have kind of known each other for a little bit. Seeming unable to settle down, Alice grabbed the bottom of the chair and rocked back and forth. I thought, don't blame me if you fall. Maybe when you're awake you have someone like that.
いるかな
What's with the lack of confidence? She was a bit of a looker and her personality wasn't bad either. I get the feeling that she could get a boyfriend right away if she decided she wanted to.
だってさきちゃんとか弥生も彼氏いないんでしょなのに私にいるかもなんて思わないって
Those two just aren't interested. Saki had her hands full with me, and the club press had her admirers. I didn't know what she herself thought. Maybe she had someone she was in love with. I'd probably feel bad for intruding on her personal life if I mustered up the courage to
トー
ask.
ルは私に彼氏がいてもおかしくないって言うの
That's what I think. I'm not saying you definitely have one, but I'd be surprised if you... I wouldn't be surprised if you did. If you're not interested, then I think it's fine if you don't have one.
その気か
Seeming to have thought of something, Alice got down from her chair and came over to me. Alice proceeded to stare at my face. She really was restless. What are you doing?
観察他に男の子いないし好きになるとか気になるとかそういうのってどういうことなんだろうね
Well, if we're just talking about being interested in someone, then I'm interested in you, Alice. Oh! Okay, Chad Tohru?
それは私がよくわかんないから そ
Well,
れとも
she wasn't too excited about that,
女の子と
but
して
I appreciated him saying, well, we're just gotta be interested in someone. I'm interested in you. Okay. I see your game. But because you don't understand me, or is it tentatively as a girl? More like as a girl, not tentatively. But I said that to go with the flow of the conversation. So I got embarrassed as I wondered why I said that. Because you actually were not holding back. You actually just said something good. Alice didn't see the mind and instead stared at me.
多分私もトールのことは気になってると思うよ
Gosh, you guys are so young. But I think that's because you hardly know anyone else.
そうかもしれないけど一応私だって好き嫌いくらいは自分で判断できるよ
Alice sounded a little annoyed. Certainly it wasn't like she was ignorant of those things. My choice of words wasn't great either. I mean, I think there's a lot of people that, like, if somebody was the last person on Earth, they wouldn't like them, you know? Like, just because you're put in a situation where you're, like, the only male and only female, whatever, right? I don't think that necessarily means you have to like that person or that you're naturally going to begin to like that person, you know? I think they just have fun together. They like having conversations, and that's what maybe attracts them to one another. Maybe in Toru's case, he just likes her big rack. But maybe he just likes her personality. That's what's truly beautiful, right? Shouldn't say this about myself, but I'm like bad debt at best. I had heard those words somewhere before.
自分で言うのもなんだけど、僕なんて不良債権もいいところだよ。
Oh. So I only remember the voice, but I couldn't remember who had said it. Oh, that was the thing she said, huh? Why is Alice so close? And then for some reason, the next thing I knew, Alice was kissing me. Oh, okay. Alice's face was right before my eyes. The soft sensation spread out of my mouth. There's no mistaking it, but I couldn't understand why this was happening. It was a sudden nostalgic smell. Before I could remember what it was, Alice's lips and face slowly moved away from mine, and a feeling of regret washed over me. Alice? A little unable to understand what had happened, I spoke first. I love the sound she makes. Ah! Just that Alice is turning back to her usual self. Her face turned bright red and she began to panic.
自分でもなんでこんなことをしたかわからないというか、なんかしたくなったっていうか、しなきゃと思ったっていうか、そういうこと言うもんじゃないって言おうと思ったら、勝手にしてたっていうか。
I wonder what that's implying. Alice held the sides of her head and writhed around, her face a deep shade of crimson.
とにかく今のはなんていうか、事故、ついのことっていうか、気にしなくていいっていうか。
I wonder if these are feelings from like her actual self kind of slipping through.
だけど気にしてほしいというか、いやそれは私がどうって言うんじゃなくて、もうちょっと自分を大事にしてほしいというか。
Calm down a little, okay? I wasn't panicking because Alice was doing plenty for both of us. In reality, I had so little idea of what was going on that I could have started thrashing around any second. My heart was pounding like I just run a marathon, and to be honest, I didn't quite understand what had just happened.
いいな、いいな。トールはそうやって落ち着いてて、キスなんて大したことないですか、そうですか。
Well, they had a better first kiss than I did. I got like close to this girl that I kind of disliked more as a friend. And it's like, we had our first kiss together, and I don't know, like, I just really wasn't like into her in that way. Like, she's a good friend, and we kind of did like couple things together. It was more like she was doing it, and I just kind of allowed it. And so I think like after we had our first kiss, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm not actually into you in that way. So I messaged her like after I got home. I was like, yeah, I don't actually want to be in a relationship with you. It was actually really mean of me to do. Like, I can't believe I did that because it makes me feel like such a player. And I'm like, I really wasn't that much of a player. I don't know. Like, I thought we were good friends and I was naive and didn't really realize what we were getting into. Yeah, so that was my first kiss. So these two definitely had a much better experience than I did. It's not. Before I could finish, Alice drank her black tea in one gulp with her hand on her hip like a man. Then she ran through the doors.
なんかトールの顔見てると落ち着かない。だから今日はここまで。もうなんかわけわかんない。
I'm leaving now. She opened the doors easily and jumped through. On the other side, she stuck her head back in halfway and looked at me warily. You can open it easily. Was what I would have liked to have said, but I couldn't calm down enough or ask what she meant by leaving now.
そういうわけでおやすみ。またね。
Matane. Alice pulled back behind the doors and shut them, and with the sound of the doors closing, there was only silence. What just happened? I noticed I had stood up from the sofa, sat back down heavily inside. We kissed, didn't we? Why? Couldn't wrap my head around it. I accepted the fact more easily than I thought. Lack of strangeness was strange in and of itself. Could it be that I knew her? I couldn't remember at all. I didn't feel like moving by myself, so until the time came to wake up, I continued to sit on the sofa in a daze. Oh, that was a fun scene. Alice is just a fun character. I really do enjoy her. I think she's fun. Oh, I just clicked through whatever that was. Skip the selection. Ooh, so this is where we're jumping into this. The key with the heart-shaped handle. I grabbed the key with the heart-shaped handle. Okay. I'm actually gonna end it here. I think this was a good point. We kind of just jumped into this, and then I did the neutral ending, or the normal ending. So I think we had a good amount of stuff happen this episode. I kind of want to just end it here and leave the excitement going for next episode. Actually enjoying Alice's route so far. It's good to get to know her. I think she's one of those characters I've always wanted to get to know more of, but she just kind of was more comedic relief, and then, you know, occasionally helped with the story and things like that when things got troublesome. I haven't really gotten to focus on her too much until last route with Saki. We actually got some time with her. That was nice. I'm getting to enjoy her, especially after having just finished Saki's route. I do like that progression to this. That's really nice. There's a good progression in the fact that we just learned some more about her in Saki's route. And I really liked some of those scenes that we got to see. I liked getting to see her in the hospital and getting that information, and now we're kind of using that here. I obviously could have just gone straight into this without all the Saki stuff, and I still would have learned some things. That was nice, but I like having the context of having already seen those scenes. I'm sure we'll get those expanded to us soon. So anyways, I'm going to end it here with the heart-shaped handle, and we're going to continue on from there next episode. So I'll see you guys then.